Hi, everybody.
Morning. How you doing?
Good. It's supposed to be fall here, but the temperatures are back up into summertime range.
Yep, it's never fall or winter here, so.
I can relate to that.
Yes.
It's usually pretty hot in Texas. It's 80 right now.
Oh my gosh.
Got me beat. It's only 74 here, so.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, David.
Healy's okay.
I'll take 80 and a lot less humidity in Mississippi or Texas any day. So I'm okay with
Yep. Come and visit anytime, Sam.
it.
I don't know, but you all should be jealous because we have absolutely beautiful fall New England weather right now. It is what makes living in this part of the country tolerable for the rest of the year.
So the
Well,
one week
winter-
that we get this makes up for the rest of it.
Oh, it does.
Right.
Right, Abby? Yeah. How's the leaves up there?
Yeah, I love this year. I mean, I love fall up here. It's really like
Whoa,
2 months
slow down.
in the winter that I could be somewhere else, but I'll take the 4 seasons any day.
Just gonna give it another minute before we get started. I know it's just noon. Is everybody in the middle of football season? Are there other sports beyond football in the fall? No, okay.
A few, but it feels like football, doesn't it?
We're actually playing Stanford, so Jessica and I
Oh.
should get a side bet going right now. See
Oh,
who
there you
wins.
go. That could be like a whole side activity.
Yeah, Gary, we're playing. Ole Miss is playing Arkansas, so I need to get him on the chat maybe.
There you go.
It's gonna be a good game too.
No, it's going to be a terrible game because it's going to be such a blowout. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Yeah, we've got a Friday night game, so those are always fun. Trying to
geez.
do. We've got classes, and then we've also finishing up a run of a little show. Oh man, I just lost. It's the most popular show that everybody likes to watch. Out on Broadway.
Hamilton.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Hamilton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Hamilton's on campus too. They've been here about 5 weeks.
Wow.
Oh,
A long time
wow.
for them to
Yep.
stay there.
So yeah, so that's always fun when we got a sold out Hamilton same time as a football game.
Well, JC, you got the season finale of Ted Lasso, so maybe you'll get some no-shows tonight.
That's true.
You guys make me feel like I need to be watching college football more closely, or maybe at all, because I'm not really a football person.
I don't know. When you work it this much, it isn't fun anymore.
Takes the pleasure out of it.
Yeah, I can
does.
believe that. I can believe that.
That's where I'm actually glad that George Mason doesn't have football. I don't have to deal with it, and I can just watch my teams.
You know,
You've got enough other stuff going on though, Josh. I feel like.
Yeah. Occasional presidential motorcades and stuff like that.
Yep. Cool.
Chris, another prospect for you there. They are members, so pull them in.
Absolutely.
Wait, was that to me?
Yeah,
Yep.
University of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They're not members. We can't talk about them.
All right. Well, I'll pull my alumni strings see if I have any.
Make it work. Make it work. I was just in Sacramento and I got to get Sac State involved. Because I went by, they have all this new student housing and they have these beautiful bike cages. So that's on my list. So if anybody knows anyone at Sac State, let me know. Because
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
I know somebody at SAC. I also know somebody at Cincinnati. So
oh, well, introduce us.
all right,
Make
I'll
it
see what I
work.
can do.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So thank you all for joining us on a Friday, especially for those of you who are, it's a Friday morning. I wanted to get everybody together. There's been a change in council leadership, so we thought we would take the opportunity to kind of rethink and, you know, re-inspire everyone in the council and see what we can go through and find some new leaders. So I'm going to let David do most of the talking to begin with, but then we've got some stuff for you guys to focus on. Where's my agenda? Here's our agenda. And yeah, David, take it away.
All righty, sounds good. Thanks, Elizabeth. And I want to thank JC for as being our chair right now. And I know it's been a challenging year on the university side with everything going on, pandemic related, and then some changes that have been taking place in some of the existing leadership that has decided to move on to other roles. So, university councils been going through some flux, to say the least, in the last 12 months. And so we did want to take advantage of the opportunity today to really try and start thinking about some reimagining and focusing of the council to put it in a stronger position to really move forward in 2022, and taking some lessons we've been learning as ACT has had a couple of new councils percolate up this year. We launched a shuttle council in April, and a group that came out of the international conference has been working on developing a technology innovation council. And as part of those efforts, we've been asking the groups to really make sure they're focusing on developing a strong charter that really lays out a clearly stated purpose, as well as identifying a few focus areas that the council will work on. And we've seen it as a really positive step because it helps ensure that everyone knows why they're coming together within the council and what potentially some of the deliverables may be, and how the council ties into other activities within the organization as we really work to push forward, stronger policy, changes at the federal level as well as at the state and local levels, and really creating stronger communities of TDM professionals within the association. And so we thought we would kind of go through a similar exercise today with the University Council. It's an existing council, but none of our existing councils actually have charters for them. They were all kind of formed many years ago and have been operating as they've operated. And so we thought this would be, we would start with the University Council and kind of working towards the development of a more formal charter and clear focus areas, and then take that on to some of the other councils over the next year to kind of get everyone a bit more formalized in their setup. So we're going to go through, I think today, just a similar kind of process that we've gone through with the others. Just curious on a sign of hands or thumbs up. Who here, perhaps this might be your first meeting with the University Council itself? Just curious if I know there's some. I see Bradley, and I think I saw a couple others there, Jessica, and I recognize some names, and I'm assuming you're new as well. So we'll I'll start off, just give a general overview of the councils and how they function within the overall association, so that everyone kind of has a similar starting point. So currently, and we can go on to the next slide there, we have, now I got to count because I keep forgetting, 7 councils or 6 councils. The Commuter Shuttle Private Operators Council, as I said, was just launched earlier this year, bringing together really what has become one of the faster growing segments of ACT's membership, shuttle providers, commuter shuttle manufacturers and others, to form that council to focus on raising awareness about their sector, the benefits that commuter shuttles provide, how they fit in with an overall regional TDM strategy, and helping aggregate. One of their big focus areas is going to be trying to aggregate the impacts that those services have and the benefits they deliver to their communities, which would be of some really valuable information to us. An employer council, really bringing together the private sector members within the organization. Technically everyone here is an employer, but this is really focused on that private sector side. And they are going through some exercises as well. They've done some surveying, data collection over the years. The Telework Alternative Work Schedule Council, focused on that niche area of telework. They've been great over the last year and a half, and a tremendous resource for members throughout the organization and helping pull together COVID-related solutions. The TMA Council is probably one of the oldest councils we have, a place for all the TMAs, TMOs to gather. Of course, the University Council, all of you, and then the Vanpool Council, another longtime council, very active, probably one of the more active councils we have, focused on sharing resources, aggregating information with each other. And then, as I mentioned, we have the Technology and Innovation Council IDEA, the group of vendors or interested stakeholders, other TDM folks that are engaged in these, the ideas around integrating technology into TDM solutions. They met at the international conference and thought it would be a great opportunity to form a council really focused on understanding the role of technology in TDM, and how do we, as an association, provide a venue for communication between vendors and customers, and understanding needs and opportunities, as well as looking at some policy related issues that could be addressed through shared efforts, on procurement and other areas. So we're seeing some real, interest and growth in the council area, and with the University Council, we hope with this process to kind of spark some of that as well. So the councils, they function, and we can go on to the next slide. It's way too small for me. I gotta zoom in a little bit. The councils are set up to really bring shared voices together. Our chapters are there for geographic networking and sharing of information, but the councils really allow members from across the country and around the world to gather in niche focused topics and really network with each other on similar ideas, provide mentoring on similar, within the sectors. So they really focus on that collaboration aspect of, the shared industry. And providing support to each other through the aggregation of data, sharing best practices, seeing how, through open dialogue and conversation, challenges can be addressed, and they all focus on, their own little niche topic area that is there. And then hopefully as a broader outcome, really work to inform the broader membership about the the issues and opportunities that are present within that topic area. So the University Council could be on the challenges on town gown issues, or integrating within larger regional planning areas, or thinking even bigger, the tie-in with research and what's next in the industry, and looking at academic opportunities, or even the birthplace of our future TDM professionals, and how do we move individuals from students to full-time TDM professionals within the industry itself. So those are kind of what we hope to see councils doing and provide providing to act as an organization and to the industry as a whole. And then we can probably go on to the next slide, I think. And so with the councils, there are expectations, and there's things that we hope in all councils to be doing. Councils are set up, they are a benefit to the membership. It allows all of you to be gathering on these shared issues. We provide staff support through Elizabeth and others within the organization, and dedicate sessions and time on within the overall programming to be allocated towards the areas of your interest. And so with that, there are expectations that come back to be that need to be met and fulfilled. Key amongst those are leadership, and having a chair, and JC's been serving in that role for the last, I think, almost 2 years now. A vice chair, a secretary, so that there is leadership in place. The leadership gets selected by the council members and anyone who's involved in the council. It does get approved by the board of directors at its meeting every 2 years. So there is an expectation of a kind of 2-year commitment to serve in the leadership there. The councils are expected to develop a work plan, setting out their objectives for the year. And through this effort that we're going to go through today, we hope that will help make that work plan development a bit easier, to really start identifying some key focus areas to be working on. Meetings, we hope that all councils meet at least quarterly. Some meet monthly, which is wonderful. It's really up to the council to make that decision of how often is necessary to meet. Some councils will set up subcommittees within them, and they'll have committees meet in between meetings to lighten the load, and that's definitely an opportunity there as well. But we do hope that at least quarterly folks are coming together for not just an informational sharing piece, but a meeting to talk about the efforts of the council and what it's trying to achieve. And one of those meetings is always in person at the international conference. We always dedicate time for each council to meet and have that opportunity to put names to faces and faces to bodies now, as we are all at least seeing each other. And then, one of the biggest tasks or that a council has, and it's really should be seen more as a benefit, is you get guaranteed 2 sessions at the international conference. Sessions in the program at the international conference, we typically have room for about 40 sessions total, and we receive upwards of 80 to 100 proposals for the international conference. So they do get quite competitive, and the great thing as a council is you are guaranteed to have 2 of those 40 slots to be able to talk about any issues, present information in any way that you want, as long as it's within the reason of the council. So that is a really a tremendous benefit, to being in this group, is to help shape that content development for the international conference. And those are typically due to us by the end of January. So it's something that the council will need to start thinking about in the coming weeks and months. There is some reporting, usually quarterly, just updates to the board on the activities of council. Is a 1-page report that simply says, we've met, we had this many people, this is what we're talking about. These are some things that we need the board to be thinking of or addressing on our behalf. And then, the committee side, being able to, set up a committee structure that may help the council moving itself forward. Some councils have a research subcommittee, that focuses on data aggregation opportunities, others on, programming and helping plan some webinars and sessions for the international conference. Some councils even look at trying to have a council submission for the TDM forum, in addition to the international conference as well. And we're very open to that as well. And then as an added benefit, we can go on to the next slide. With benefits of the council, the biggie, that conference content, being able to, have that dedicated session slots. You do get staff support. Elizabeth is now about a year and a half in. So, she is our membership experience manager and is the point person for all councils and chapters, and is there to really provide any and all support to you that is needed. That's helping, plan and coordinate your meetings, talk through challenges you're facing, help, identify potential leaders and members that could share and be involved in the council itself. So I encourage you to take advantage, well, not take advantage, but
You
to
still have to do your
maximize-
own reports.
Still have to do your own reports. Yep. Maximize that benefit back to the council for your own good there. We're always looking for folks where it's like, hey, they're doing something. We're going to help them succeed. That is our job.
We want you to
help you all
succeed.
succeed. And then, the ability to influence policy. It may not be as much on the university side, but ACT's Public Policy Committee, it is there to, the councils have the ability to, pitch policy positions, raise issues with the policy committee that they think that the committee should be focusing on, or the organization should be focusing on. This could be anything from local town gown issues to state local rideshare regulations and trip reduction ordinances, broader climate policies. Having the university council, think about what are some of those opportunities that may be there that touch upon your sector for ACT to be further integrating into their efforts. The commuter benefits programs is a biggie. And then of course it helps raise the whole profile of the sector and making sure university issues are, front and center, and looking bigger is that potential role for academic research and student involvement in the organization, and how the council can help with that. And of course, leadership opportunities, serving A lot of our board members over the years have come through council participation and, serving as a leader of the council, raising your profile within ACT, within the industry, within the sector, are all, hopefully seen as benefits to you as individuals. If you have staff that you manage, opportunities to provide leadership up for more junior staff to come in and get involved, very friendly, safe environment to be able to start developing some of those leadership skills is a good thing as well. And I think that's all. I don't know if I had another slide or not.
No, I think just
So I'm going to pause there for a quick second just to see, if anyone had any questions, if there's anything I may have jumped through really quick, or you want some clarification on, just to pause for a moment on any of that.
You did get some thumbs up in the chat, I will say.
Oh, good. I crave public advocacy. So yeah, I need that, especially on a Friday. Excellent. So one of the things we'd like to do with the group today is, and some of you may have seen these boards used in other meetings and activities we've done in the organization, is we've been using these easy retro boards. And since Lisa K is here, we have to acknowledge that this is a Lisa K major contribution to the organization and a fabulous tool that we just love. So we always thank her for that. Elizabeth has posted in the chat a link that we hope all of you will take a moment to click on, and it will bring you over to this board where we've posted some questions. What do you see as the benefits of being a council, the university council, the challenges that may face the council, and that, think broad. What issues, could the council be addressing? What role might students and academic programs have in this council? And what else should we be thinking about? And what we want to do here is have everyone spend about 10 minutes thinking about these questions and submitting responses, and they're starting to pop up. This is a completely anonymous board. And that's what I love about this, is that I know none of you would tell me that we're doing a horrible job on something over Zoom, but you could write it on here and we would have no clue who it was. So, want to spend just a few minutes, encourage you to think about these opportunities, these questions, and we'll continue to watch them. And you can upvote items by clicking on the thumb, or you can comment on them, and or add in your own thoughts as we go. And as I'll talk through it, once we gather this, I'll kind of go into some of the next steps, I guess. What we will do is really start to, after we're done inputting stuff, see if there's any thoughts that people would like to share, verbally, or anything that resonates with them that they read that they'd like to, discuss for a few minutes as we go through the end of the call. But what this will do is help us shape what that charter might look like and what the purpose of, the council may be, and the focus areas of its work as it goes forward. So really think about, what do you want? What would, you joined the call today. There must be some driving desire or purpose that you're looking for. What do you want it to be, and how can the council help with that? So I'm going to pause and be quiet now. So, and Elizabeth said she would sing. So
Chris, you can't like everything. Do you guys want more than 6 votes? I can up that number while we're working on this.
I think if the point is to get a sense of like a hierarchy of importance, I don't know if you can limit it per category.
Can't do it per category, it's per
Okay.
person. And yeah, that's why it's set at 6. It's so that you have to really kind of decide what is most important to you.
So maybe
What-
10, because then that means you have 2 per category,
All right, we can do that.
but you don't have to use them in every category if you don't want to.
Okay, I'll see if we can. Hopefully that worked in real life. This is great. Look at how fast it filled up.
Yeah.
And while people are doing this, I just wanted to let everybody know that what the council is working, and council, I mean me, since everybody left me, is we are
Poor
working-
JC.
Yeah, we are working on a survey, so that's one thing that that we did have in process and was almost done. Although I'm going to give a shout out to Solomon. He actually is doing a Pac-12 survey right now, and I think I like his survey better. So I may volunteer Solomon that he may need to help me with the survey because I like his better, and maybe we'll get that out here soon so we can finish up that project that we had started about a year ago.
Be happy to.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
mean
Solomon.
that's a great opportunity there. You know, that whole, you know, you're all doing stuff individually, you know, within your organizations, you know, looking at the council is that opportunity to, you know, if this data is important to one, perhaps it's important to others, you know, how do we coordinate much larger, streamlined and aggregatable, I don't even know if that's a word, aggregatable, you know, data to really, you know, shine a light on what is happening within the university sector. You know, what are the benefits, outcomes, mode splits, you know, program services. Yeah.
And Solomon, I promise I'll get you your survey by the end of today. I'm almost done. I keep telling you that, but I am.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the challenges piece, and that's always an important column of feedback. You know, this a few of them here. The idea of, you know, university is such a broad catch-all. You know, it's, you know, and a lot of our members are in the facilities, parking, transportation side. But trying to think of, is there an opportunity to really, or an interest in laying out a bigger definition of what university council is and who it covers, and, you know, does that incorporate the academic side or the student side of you know, the sector.
And David, that's something that we were working on during COVID, was kind of expanding it. And that's something I'm doing here at ASU really well, is kind of using the data that I collect, and then students love real data. So I'm getting them involved, and we actually have a weekly salon, which we
Oh.
get together with faculty and staff and students. And then we basically just kind of talk about things that they're studying, they're researching, or what I can bring to the table. And that's actually been working out really well. And I'm hoping to kind of build that out and kind of be able to share that with other people, because it's been really beneficial from the parking and transportation side of things, because it's, I don't want to say free labor, but I get really good information and data from the students and faculty as they're doing some process. And there's actually one thing that as soon as I can share it, I will. There's a PhD student who did like a dissertation on parking and how everybody feels like parking is a right, and how it can create uncomfortable conversations and issues. And she collected data and did all that type of stuff, and it was really interesting, kind of the mindset of how people think about parking and how we can go about changing that.
Would totally be interested in that.
Yeah, it was really good. She just presented on it 2 weeks ago, and she did a little write up, but she's still having it peer reviewed, so it's not quite ready for full
Prime time.
publication. But I think it'd be really interesting for this group to read through what she found, because she came into it as a non-transportation, non-parking person, and her eyes were really opened. So
Did she see this as a new career for her then?
no, she's running
Oh,
away
too bad.
screaming. So yeah.
No, wrong response.
That point though, David, is pretty important. I know from our side, from a budget standpoint, if we can get buy-in from the academic side and create some kind of senior design or capstone courses related to what we're doing, that's how we're getting buy-in on some of our initiatives that maybe alone maybe won't get approved, but if we get the academic side on it, it really helps. For example, at Ole Miss, we're doing a lot with kind of a homegrown e-bike system with kind of back-end software and gamification. And that's really grown. It originally started out as a project with engineering, but now there's 4 other departments that are involved, and originally 4 or 5 students that did a project over a year, and it is now about 20 to 25 students with a lot of academic interest of how this may develop. So I think that academic side as well as the research side is really important for this group as well.
That could be something that turns into a committee, that there's a group within the council that works on that kind of research academic end of things, and maybe like a student outreach component as well.
Yeah, I'm 1 semester away from having every other semester class that they're basically just going to take all the data that I give them, and then they're going to produce outcomes with that data. Like right now we're working on a GIS map of where all of our faculty, staff, and students live, so that we can better pinpoint what types of alternative mode transportation will work best for them. Like, for example, if they're along the light rail, we'll really push light rail to them. If they're close, we'll push bike and walking and that type of stuff. So we're working with a PhD student right now that's going to help us with that, and then hopefully we can continue to create that moving forward, and that just be a running class that we do with updated information and how we can help get people out of their cars based on where they live and how their commute styles are and where they're coming from.
Cool.
Yeah.
We've seen a few comments in here around that, the student side and, desire for student kind of getting students involved in the membership. One, just to make everyone aware, ACT does have a student membership category. It's $40 a year to add on students. I'd be curious to hear folks' thoughts on, what you would potentially see as the value add. We've always struggled. I think we have about 10 or 12 students involved in the organization. What the value add that you might see of having your students involved in members, and is there barriers to getting them engaged, or what we should be thinking about on that front of it. It is an area that the membership committee is also interested in trying to figure out, is how do we get more students engaged.
I think from the student side of things, I think the value add for them is they can kind of see what the profession looks like and kind of dip their toes in it and kind of rub elbows with people who are doing the job that they're eventually wanting to do. And I think that's kind of really helpful when talking with the students. What they're kind of looking for is they really don't know what they're getting themselves into. So I think having that opportunity to be able to kind of see what professionals are doing in their field of study is really helpful. And then
That'd be a great webinar, like that the university council almost, or working with a PD committee maybe to host a, once a year. So you're thinking about TDM as a career, or, this is what it all is, and, open it up to students across the country and, to call in and learn about it.
Yeah, I was going to say we've tossed around the idea of doing a virtual career fair in the past, so kind of similar idea. I think the only challenge that we've run into is how do we market it to students? So it would be having to rely on you guys to, push it out to your students there as well. So.
And then that's the difficult part about students is the turnover and getting them to basically how do we communicate with them? We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, Clark Ryder here, CU Boulder. I almost feel like the students are secondary to getting more of the faculty involved. Because, what we struggle with every year is getting student involvement in anything. Like we have a transportation working group, and we have a environmental center that they always have one representative of students, and it's really hard to get them to show up. It often doesn't match with their schedules and so forth. And I think there's also just kind of a lack of understanding from students that like this is a professional opportunity, or they may not know they want to go in this direction, but they could benefit from ACT in terms of like, are they interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion? Are they interested in data or whatever? There's so many ways. But if they don't have professors that are helping them make that connection, and like, if we don't have people on staff that know about ACT, then, we're just not going to get the students. So I feel like, at our last couple of council meetings, it's been almost 100% operations people. Like we just don't have professors or faculty members that are involved. So I feel like the first step is to get some key, I know at CU Boulder, like if we could get some key faculty involved, that's probably the first step. And then they would provide the connection to the students, because we might get a great student one year and then they graduate, right? And then we're back to square one, and we're so busy in the summer trying to get caught up that we're not even thinking about the next student. So I kind of feel like that might be the first step, and then student involvement is the second step. And then there's also like the opportunity, I think like the University of Denver or CU Denver has a really good transportation program for students and like a planning program, but I don't think they're really involved in ACT. So like really identifying what universities are specifically working on this stuff. Like we have a Masters of the Environment program that gets a lot of interested students. We have some design programs, but we don't specifically have transportation focused majors, if you will. So just some thoughts from CU.
Mm-hmm. No, good points. Yeah, it's kind of a chicken and the egg kind of thing there. You can't get students without getting the faculty, really. And the faculty need to see a connection to why should they be involved and how does it benefit their students and the work they're doing.
Yeah, it only took me 6 years of working with faculty to get this partnership where it's at. So it takes a little bit of time, but Clark, you can do it.
Yeah, and so that's where would be interesting, and that's a benefit of the council is how do we take those 6 years of the lessons learned that JC has to make it where it's a 6 month development for Clark and others, and sharing that story and the benefits, and having those faculty share the benefits with faculty at other universities to encourage that connection there.
I see Jim has his hand raised. Jim, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to add in about students and not versus faculty so much, but in addition, I do agree with everything said about getting faculty involved, and many universities probably have the same thing we do. We have a Sustainable Transportation Vermont section of our faculty. Their sustainability is big here anyway. There's a transportation research center that's part of our university. There's a lot of faculty in those areas that I think we can gain a lot of information and participation from. But I want to just focus on the students, and I'm the one that put in that little comment about having students join and they can become future members. If you get them involved when they're students, when they graduate and go on to different organizations that might not be members of ACT, a great experience in ACT would help them convince their leadership, hey, we should be a part of this. Look at all the things that we did. I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose that thought. Silence.
I mean, definitely that career path is part of that goal, right? So that's where the PD committee can help.
I'm curious as well.
Come up.
It's come up a few comments, and Jim mentioned it. That they have a university transportation center at their school. Folks involved, on the call, who has a university transportation center within their school? Curious, raise of hands or thumbs ups and or comments in the chat box. Yeah, I'm trying to do a rough count here, about 8 or 10 or so. I see. These are, and perhaps Lisa Kay can talk to them more. I mean, she's heavily involved in it all. The university transportation centers, those are very logical connections for us in regards to, the research and connecting research student needs and wants to, the real world, like, pilots and data that's being collected within the university itself, or even the broader ACT community, and trying to, there's been ongoing conversations about how do we make that bridge between ACT and the UTC programs. And I think that's something that the University Council may want to spend some time thinking about, as it looks to develop its plans moving forward. Is there a very logical sense of a bridge and connection there, or not?
Yeah, I think, David, thank you for bringing that up. I was previously at the regional ride sharing program. And when I came over to the university and wanted to continue my involvement in ACT, as a member of the University Transportation Center, the questions I was getting from my leadership was, well, what does ACT do that's going to help us in the research realm? And how are we going to how are we going to justify the membership? And I said, well, there's a university council, and came to one of the university councils early on. And I think, Clark, I think you mentioned this, it was almost all operations. And I kind of sat there and went, uh-oh. So I do think there's a lot of opportunity for us to take a look at how we define this council and all the different aspects of things that are happening at a university that are transportation related, including the commuter services, but also the research. I know our researchers are constantly looking for help identifying local deployment partners, finding people who would be interested in engaging in research. And that may be something that ACT members are interested in as well, that they may have issues they would like to have researched. And maybe there's a way we can make some of those connections as well for non-university ACT members and those of us who are on the research side.
What are others' thoughts on that? You're on mute, actually. No, that was just my attempt to see if someone may have been talking and wanting to talk. Get them to. No, no one's on mute. No one's talking to themselves. Just me. All right. Excellent. Well, yeah, I know we're getting towards the top of the hour here. Curious, any other thoughts, comments that people saw on the board, things that they think they want to make sure get highlighted, anything that we're missing that you want to make sure we think about. All righty.
Yeah, I'll chime in again. One question I think I saw in there, or one comment was about regional representation of this council, especially in regards to leadership, and I think that's an interesting one. Do we want to have representation both regionally, so West Coast, East Coast, Middle America, whatever, as well as from kind of the size or type of university? Because I know that's always an interesting conversation when we have different conference topics, because there's very different challenges and needs, whether you're a small university located in a super busy city or large university like ASU or whatever. So I think that's something we need to define as a council, but I'd love to see kind of broader representation of the leadership of this group in that respect.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that'll be one of the key next steps we need to be taking as a group, is that leadership. JC's been carrying a lot of weight on his shoulders over the last couple of years, and would love for some additional help in regards to it. I don't expect anyone to throw their hand up right now, to volunteer to jump into a leadership post, but if there are individuals who are intrigued about the opportunity to take on leadership, I'd encourage you to reach out to JC or Elizabeth and ask any questions, or say, hey, I want to do this. That'll be a key next step for us to make sure that we have a full slate on board.
Well, I'll just jump in here. I don't mind. I want to help JC for this to succeed. And I've really enjoyed ACT and CACT over the last year. So I'm willing to say right now that I'll step up, and if he needs some help as a vice chair, that I'm interested in that.
That is awesome. Thank you. And I saw the comment in the chat from Sarah. Leadership essentially on the council, it is, I wouldn't say it's a heavy lift, but it's probably a few hours a month, a couple hours a month of work. Hopefully coordinating some leadership calls, in between the regular council meetings, just to be thinking about, what's next for the council, depending on how the leadership wants to structure it itself and how helpful all the people are. It can be a bit easier, in divvying up tasks, making sure that the committees are doing the work they're supposed to be doing. And maybe JC can speak to it more, what might be done.
Yeah, no, it's actually not too bad. There's 4 meetings that we want to hold, these meetings quarterly, and then generally the leadership meets about once a month, just to kind of make sure that we're getting everything planned and ready to go, and make sure we're heading in the right direction. So it's really not that big of a heavy lift if there's more than one person. So that's kind of what the many hands make light work type of thing. So it's really not that bad. And the nice thing is we're already doing it. So it's nothing that y'all don't know what you're walking into or what's happening. It's kind of just setting up meetings, talking about stuff we all talk about every day, and making sure we kind of get pointed in the right direction. So it's not that difficult. I think I've been doing it 4 or 5 years now. So I keep trying to step down, but the act keeps pulling me back in. So I have yet to succeed in quitting. So hopefully we can get a good group going. That's the main reason why I don't want to jump off the ship, so to speak, just yet, because I want to make sure that it's heading in the right direction.
Yep.
So that's the key.
Yep. Cool. So one of the questions I would have or ask, we talked about trying to develop a charter, and I think that would be a great next step for the group, kind of to have, 7 or 8, 10 people who might want to come back for a call in a couple weeks. One of the things that we can do is kind of take a structure of a charter that we've done with the other councils, do an initial, staff can do an initial kind of draft of a charter, its purpose, focus areas, using the information gathered from the retro board, and then have a group of you meet and review it and flesh it out a bit, and then be able to bring that back to the council for a fuller discussion and approval of the charter. If that makes sense for folks.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds great. And maybe I can get Elizabeth to set up a meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're
That's
interested in participating in that, feel free to just type your name into the chat, or say you're interested, and we'll try and capture your names. I see Debbie. I gotta get used to your last name, Debbie. Debbie, Sarah, Solomon. And a group of you.
I promise I'll make it fun. So, and quick and easy, all the above.
Yeah. Excellent. Any last minute before we leave thoughts? I hope I think this was a great conversation today. It was nice to see everyone on the call, and I think we had close to 40 at the peak. Great turnout, and I think we're going to have a good year ahead of us. So it's excellent.
It can't be any worse.
Don't say that. Just don't even put it out there.
Have we not learned anything from the pandemic? It can always get worse.
But it's okay, because today is Friday and it's almost the weekend. So
well, excellent, everyone. Appreciate it, and thank you all for taking the time to call in today and your feedback. The board will remain active and open, so if you had any other thoughts that you want to share, feel free to continue working on it and visiting it. It'll be open for a few more days. So.
And I'll follow up with all of you who are interested in working with on the charter group. So
all right,
cool.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
All righty, bye.